Well, this is just the beginning. You're on the Bear Aesthetics channel, and today you are going to learn the best shoulder exercise for a natural bear. How many sets and reps to do per day, and how often you should train them. Bears are some of the strongest large predators. Their bodies evolved for versatility, hunting, foraging, defense, and manipulating heavy objects like logs, stones, stumps. All of that demands a massive shoulder girdle. For you humans, things are a bit simpler. But let me save you the trouble of digging through tons of information. Based on over 10 years of natural training experience, I'll break down the key points that will help you build massive, powerful shoulders and stop being a little bear cub. It's time to become a true alpha bear. To begin with, the shoulder consists of three heads: front, side, and rear. To build symmetry and aesthetics, you need to develop all three. Especially remember the rear head. If you skip it, you gradually become hunched. You've probably seen people like in the gyms. They look athletic, sort of, but their shoulders are pulled forward. This is due to muscle asymmetry and overdeveloped chest and underdeveloped antagonists, the rear delts and back muscles. To avoid this, don't skip training those muscles. Right now you can do a small test to check whether you have poor posture or muscle imbalance. To do this, take two pencils or pens and just let your arm hang straight down by your sides. If the tips of the pencils point toward each other, that means you have internal rotation, and the more they point inward, the more your shoulders are rotated forward. Alternatively, just stick out your thumbs, like you're giving a thumbs up. If your thumbs also point toward each other rather than running parallel, you have got a postural imbalance. Thumbs or pencils should be parallel with proper posture. Now that we have covered anatomy, let's move on to exercises. I have one favorite exercise for each head, and let's start with the rear delt so we can give it some extra focus. For the rear delt, I recommended the reverse pec deck machine. The reverse pec deck targets the rear delt very effectively. Plus, it's an isolation exercise, but sometimes this machine isn't available, and doing this movement on the cable crossover can feel awkward, like you're hogging the entire machine, which is very bear-like, or humans for that matter. So here is a great free weight alternative. Lying incline rear delt raises, lying face down on a bench set at 30-degree angle. You can lower the angle if your arm laid allows for full range of motion without hitting the floor. I recommended doing this exercise with light weight, so that is really the rear delt doing the work. For example, at the beginner level, you can use just 2 or 4 or maybe 5 kg dumbbells and do 20 reps per set. On the reverse pec deck, you can switch grip underhand, overhand, or lateral palms. You can use both heavy and light weights. I suggest alternating between the two. Now let's move on to the side head of delts. We all know that dumbbell lateral raises are the classic go-to. And yes, it's a solid moment. But I recommended not just doing that, but a slightly improved variation. Lateral raises using the cable machine while standing at the angle. This increases your range of motion and your side delt stays under tension throughout the entire movement. Unlike dumbbells, at the bottom of the moment, the cable still pulls your shoulder while dumbbells go slack. So if you want wide shoulders, train the side head of delts, and these two exercises will be more than enough for that. As for weight, it's similar situation. The shoulder is a very injury prone part of the body. Try to avoid ego lifting. On the cable machine, go for poor isolation with relatively light weights. With dumbbells, you have more freedom, so you can afford to go a bit heavier. And finally, the front delts. Many say, you don't need to train it, since it already gets works during bench press. But even so, I'd still recommend doing dedicated shoulder presses. It's best to do this with dumbbells, while seated, because with a barbell, your shoulder girdle is more restricted in mobility. With dumbbells, you can control the movement more freely. Forget about behind the neck presses, they will destroy your shoulders. And if you don't believe that yet, and think it's just some internet scare story, I'll still recommend it listening up. Among my fellow lifters at the gym, I have heard dozens of stories from big bears who wrecked their shoulders by doing behind the neck presses. So if you love pressing with a barbell, press in front of you, or better yet, use dumbbells. Another great isolation moment for the front delt is front raises. Remember those trends that people tried to lift a barbell with a fully extension arm out in front of them? And remember how most people couldn't even budge a measly 20 kg bar off the ground? That's because you listen to so-called experts online who said front delt don't need training. Well, think about it. I'm not forcing you, but I highly recommend training your shoulders from all sides and evenly. Also, don't forget about body weight work. Learn to do handstand push-ups, at least against the wall. How many sets and reps should you do, and how often should you train shoulders? I recommended alternating training intensity. Once a month, do an insane high rep workout with very light weights. For example, your plan for 1 week of high rep training might look like this. Or you can do boxing movement with light dumbbells. Choose very light weights. For example, I do 50 lateral raises for the side delt using 5 kg. Pick a weight that lets you complete 50 reps per set, with a deep burn standing around rep 35. Once or twice per month, go for max effort session with heavier weights on these same exercises. And your main shoulder plan might look like this, depending on whatever you train. Full body or like this if you're training on a split. Training shoulders properly twice a week is more than enough for a natural bear. Once a week is optimal, or a shoulder work at the end of every workout if you are doing full body session. Now for a few bear laws about shoulder training. Law number 1. Always warm up your shoulder. This is crucial. Even if your shoulder don't hurt now and you are benching 100 kg without a warm up, that doesn't mean it will still be when you hit 30. By 30 you will be struggling to squeeze out a tube of toothpaste. Law number 2. Don't train shoulders on chest day. You will end up overloading them, and before long your shoulder will be overtrained. Law number 3. One big shoulder, hit them first, before anything else in your workout. And finally, a couple of bear challenges from me. For the rear delt, learn to lift the entire stack on the reverse pec deck machine. For the side delts, perform 10 strict reps with 30 kg per arm. From the front delt, lift an empty barbell with your paw fully extended in front of you. Well, that's it. Now you know a bit more about your shoulders and how to train them. If you found this helpful, please support me with a like and subscription and leave a comment. Together we are strong. Join the bear aesthetic movement.